So the first question that we have is, why is feeling so important? Why is feeling more important than thinking?
That's really a good question, because you think we often think that in order to make things happen, we have to really get out and do something. We have to kind of take the situation into our own hands, and we have to kind of force it a little bit. And if you're in a situation where you're feeling like you really have to force it, your approach is not going to probably work, or it won't work the way that it's not going to work the way the universe intended it to work, because universal intelligence knows the path, knows the shortest path from point A to point B. And if you're at point A and you're trying to get to point B, or the other way around, you're going to an elevated position, the place of the future, that's a place of your dreams. You think it's a straight line, but nothing in the universe is a straight line. And if you try to force it into that straight line, it's going to be nothing but work. The universe, infinite intelligence, sees the line. It may be something that goes more like this, and takes turns that you would never imagine were going to be the way that would get you from where you are to where your goal is. But if you're forcing things, you're not allowing it to happen. When we think of things, we use our logic, and we think of in kind of columns of numbers, mathematics, and there's nothing wrong with thinking in mathematics, but when we're using our logic to decide what the step is, what we need to do is back up and remember that our subconscious mind, which is really the door to infinite intelligence, thinks in pictures and emotions. That's the language that infinite intelligence understands. And when you're planning a path, the best thing to do is to get your logic out of the way and open your heart and think of having achieved the goal. What's that person in the future like? How do you imagine the person has changed? But even more important, how do you feel when you've achieved the goal? How do you feel after the goal is achieved and you are the person, you have the dream life, you have the partner of your dreams, whatever your goal is, how do you feel? And Neville says, focus your attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the feeling of the goal achieved. Focus on the feeling. And he also talks about thinking from rather than thinking of. If you're thinking of the goal, and you're thinking logically about how can I get from where I am to where I want to be? How can I attract the partner of my dreams? What can I do? Grow a mustache, get a haircut, whatever it happens to be. Probably not going to work, because what you're talking about is an emotion being fulfilled, a need in your life that can only be fulfilled emotionally, and it's not an intellectual thing. So when you're thinking in emotions, you're thinking in the language that universal intelligence understands. And that's also the driving force which tells infinite intelligence where to move. It tells source energy where to move. When you think in pictures, and maybe not the picture of the person of your dreams, because it can't be I can't be a person. You can't be, I want to have Beyonce for my partner. Well, that's not going to happen. And it's not the right mindset anyway, because what you want is someone who matches your character, the needs of your character, not the needs of your body. And it's the emotional attachment, it's the emotional connection, it's the emotional reaching out into the universe that causes the universe to respond. That's the driving force. And it's the true power behind any kind of manifestation. If you talk to anybody who has manifested anything, it's happened when they have gotten, as I would say, get yourself out of the way. Get out of your own way. And you have to kind of have a little bit of an epiphany to know what that means, to get out of your own way. It's kind of like if you decided that the goal of your dreams was to have a brand new Lamborghini, but your garage is full of junk. The Lamborghini probably isn't going to show up because you haven't prepared for it. You think you have an emotional attachment, but you haven't thought it through and go, well, if I have a Lamborghini, I probably don't want to park it outside in the weather. I probably want to have it in the garage, but there's no room in the garage. And you need to get busy and make room. And sometimes in our lives, we need to make room. We say we want something, but we need to make room for it, because that's the way that our emotion actually has power, is if we've done a little bit of our homework and made way for it to happen. Get out of your own way and allow it to happen. Keep your mindset on the emotion of the feeling of the goal achieved. How do you feel? Inspired, fulfilled, whatever the emotion happens to be. I feel wonderful. I feel grateful. And the more specific and the more intense the emotion, the more power you give to your vision.
If you just think it, it's not going to happen.
Thinking it, from a logical sense, thinking it is not enough. It needs to be an emotional. Genevieve Behrend says, paint a picture, create a picture, and then examine the picture, make it more detailed. Put yourself into it and experience in your mind, because in your mind with emotion attached to it, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between something you've imagined and something you've really experienced. And the more real you make your vision of your goal and how great you feel when you've achieved that goal, the more your subconscious mind accepts it as the real thing. And as you focus on it, you repeatedly focus on it, that drives the forces to make it start to happen. Thanks for being with us today. My goal is to give you value with every lesson. If you would like us to notify you every time a new lesson is ready, click subscribe below, then turn on notification. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.